Welcome everyone to this wonderful meeting of Tigertales ToastMasters. Um, as a rule from the International Tigertales organization, we have to keep our videos open. Thank you, Hassan, for starting your video. And with that, I would like to invite our Toastmasters of the day, Cyril, to take us through this meeting. Cyril.
Thank you very much, Ajita. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great honor for me to be the Toastmaster this afternoon. And as I reflect on the topic of the day and the word of the day, I thought of all of the events that are happening around the world right now. There are some crazy things, like COVID-19 pandemic started in December, and that changed our entire life and our way of living. And we had the Black Lives Matter movement with its ups and downs that also shook the entire United States. And very recently, we saw the fire in California, uh, while families were gathering together to enjoy the holiday, the Labor Day holiday. The fire started, and everything is going, is ups and down right now in California. So those are crazy things. And while all those things are really sad and comes with a huge cost, there are also an opportunity to think of our wrong past and fracture from the past and construct a beautiful future. So today we are going to have an interesting meeting. I am really convinced. And we have 3 speeches, and we will also have the table topics. And to lead us through the meeting, we have some functionaries, and we have some wonderful people that will be helping us with those different roles. And I want to call on each of them to explain us what their role is. So today we have our timer, who is Ajita. Please, Ajita, can you explain us what your role will consist in?
Thank you, Cyril. I will be the timer for tonight, where I'll be taking care of the timing rules for the prepared speeches. For the prepared speeches, we have 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I will be showing this green card. At 6 minutes, I will be showing this yellow card. And at 7 minutes, I'll be showing the red card, where the speakers will have 30 seconds to wrap up their speech. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
I wanted to say something. I asked Ajita what is one crazy thing that she did and that changed her entire life. And she said, the most craziest thing that I did was to fly 100,000 miles away from home to study here in the United States. And life has changed after that. I have met so many interesting people here, especially my friends at Toastmasters. I feel like we are having a similar experience, because when I asked that question, she said, I don't think this is funny, but I said, to have been living the same experience, I know that this is really funny and especially really crazy. Thank you very much, Jita. And our counter today is Chitra. Chitra, can you please explain us what your role will consist in?
Hello everybody. Today I'll be the accountant. I'll be looking for overused words and filler words. I'll be looking for interjection sounds and repeat words and phrases which people would like to reduce in their speeches to give wonderful public speaking skills, to enhance their public speaking skills. There goes one for me. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
So I asked the same question to Chitra, and she said, crazy thing, leave a perfectly paying job, family and life I created back in India, and come for a fresh start in a new domain business and start a new chapter with 2 bags of luggages. I reinvent my story every few years. Thank you very much for sharing this, Chitra. And today we have our grammarian, who is Pritam. Pritam, can you please explain us what your role will consist in?
Absolutely, Cyril. Today I will be looking for the good uses of English grammar and maybe correct some uses of English grammar if they are not appropriate. I will also be watching for the word of the day. I would encourage people to use the word of the day as you can see on my screen, which is fracture. Fracture means a complete or partial break. The easiest thing that I would remember is Xavier jumped from the top floor of his building and had a bone fracture. So I think that is all I will be looking for. And with that, I'll hand it over to our Toastmaster, Cyril.
Thank you very much, Pritam. And I also asked the same question to Pritam, and he said, reaching out to people, being in business, leadership, and public speaking, I put myself in front of new people every day. Most people reject what I have to say, and that experience has shown me my real self and be humble always. Thank you very much for this beautiful testimony, Pritam. And now let's move on to one of the most interesting part of this meeting, which is the prepared speeches. Today we will have 3 speeches and every speaker will have an evaluator. And to evaluate the first speech that will be delivered by Mengshi, we have Destin. And I would like to ask Destin to explain us what he will be looking into while evaluating Mengshu. Destin?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Mengshu is working on his second speech of level 1 innovative planning pathway. And he specifically asked me to watch for his self-confidence in front of the audience, the eye contact, the body language, the structure of the speech, and the pace of the speech. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Destin. I asked the same question to Destin and he said, hey, one crazy thing that I did and that changed my life. Thoughts? And he said, 4 years ago, I declined a job offer in a cement factory in a time people would have given anything to get that specific job. Today, that company has been unable to pay its employees for the last 12 months. I would certainly be jobless today and not in the United States. I find that to be a wonderful story and a very courageous decision that has helped Destin to fracture his life. So we are going to have the first speech that will be delivered by Mengshu. And Mengshu also said that attending RIT to continue art and pursuing this major is something crazy that he thinks he has made the decision to pursue. And I would like to now give the stage to Mengshu to present his speech. Please welcome Mengshu.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and good evening, everyone. Today my title is Theory of Relativity. And don't worry, I'm not going to talk about quantum physics. What I'm about to tell is a phenomenon in our daily lives. I have a classmate whose favorite thing to do is to complain. He could complain about everything and everyone. Once, I helped him bring food from the dining hall. He didn't thank me for the food delivery, but complained that it was getting cold. It made me feel uncomfortable, so I just keep a distance with him. Now let's turn attention to another example. One of my teachers usually keeps a smile on her face, has a lovely sense of humor, has a confident and positive state of mind. She always encourages me. If I'm not doing well, she would say, "Don't lose heart. I know you are brilliant and you will make great progress next time." So I can get lots of energy from her. You can see the difference between the two examples. Let me tell you a story about my family. In March of this year, before the COVID epidemic in China was over, people had to wear fake masks, and every family had disinfecting water on hand for daily disinfection, just like what you guys are doing right now. One day, my dad asked Mom and I to go to the building materials market to deliver some goods, but he didn't tell us what the goods were. Mom and I set off in a family car. When we arrived at the store, Mom and I saw a worker wearing a tattered mask, which is full of grease and dirt, working hard to move the goods. I understood and felt sorry for him, because at that time, masks were completely out of stock in China, and the price had risen almost 10 times. It was very hard for ordinary people to get masks. Then I thought to myself that it was a good thing that my mom had stocked up on masks through a friend, so that we could have clean and hygienic masks to wear. I really felt sorry for this worker, but I didn't know how to help him. Unlike me, my mom took a bag of masks, including about 10, from the armrest of the car and gave it to the worker. I was surprised, and I reminded my mom, "Come on, Mom, have you forgotten how much trouble we had faced to get these masks?" My mom said bluntly, "Virtue has its own rewards." Of course, I was unconvinced. After all, the worker was just a stranger. Then we entered the store only to find out what needed to be shipped was a package of plastic tubing. And the size was so long that there was no way it would fit in our little car. Mom and I were at our wits' end and began to count on my dad for not making it clear to us. My mom had no choice but ask the manager if he could help us transport it. But the price he offered was too high. My mom hesitated and tried to bargain. "Are you crazy? 500 yuan for short distance delivery? You are robbing." Whatever, there's nothing else you can do. So as you can see, it was an awkward situation. And at that time, the worker came in. He smiled at us and understood the situation very well. Through his dirty mask, he said, "I can help you with my truck. It's free." It was like a lifeline for me and my mom. Finally, the problem was solved. And the worker later told us that helping us with his delivery to delay his work. But he was willing to help us because we had given him a hand first. I suddenly understood what Mom had said. It's a wonderful relativity. How you treat the world and how the world gives back to you. Everyone also influence each other, creating an interesting cycle. Now, I made very good friends in the RIT environment. Every time I could see everyone's smiling faces and cute white teeth, it makes me feel happy and relaxed. Actually, in my country, a lot of people are very introverted, and sometimes people greet each other with just a nod of head. Although they are very introverted, they can still be infected by seeing my smiling face. So in my view of relativity, the world is like a mirror. How you treat others is how they treat you and affect you accordingly. Think about the classmate I mentioned. He's not a bad guy, but his attitude is so negative that it backfired on him. He couldn't get a good mood either. How about the teacher and my mom? I think not only are they friendly to others, but they also have a positive and sunny attitude towards the outside world. Think about it. When our inner world is full of sunshine, how can the gloom appear? How could we be unhappy? So what I really want to say is embrace your life. Embrace everything, everyone you meet. Try not to complain about others and the environment. And the world you are watching is actually a mirror of your inner self. The kind of attitudes you look at with, the kind of scenario it shows you. So why don't we make this scenario better by making our attitudes better? That's all. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mengsho. I would like to ask the timer to give us 1 minute to send a feedback and a love note to Mengsho. The timer. All right, thank you very much, everybody. And now let's move on to our second prepared speech that will be delivered by Gaurav. And to evaluate Gaurav, we have Xavier today. And I asked the same question to Xavier, and he said, when I first came to RIT, Alex was one of the first people I met at Grace's. The crazy thing I decided to do is to follow him into ToastMasters, which has set the stage for where my life is today. I think this is another beautiful testimony. And to be one of the mentors of Alex, I can also testify that he's a great man and that he is also able to contribute to changing people's life. And I would like to say thank you to Alex for all the great work. So Xavier, today you will be evaluating Gaurav. Can you please tell us what you will be looking into?
Yeah. Tonight, Gaurav's going to give his first speech to our club. We call it the Icebreaker. He's on the presentation mastery pathway. And basically, the goal of this speech is for him to share a story with the club and for us to get to know him better. I'm going to be kind of looking for where his baseline of speaking in public is and highlighting what he does good, but specifically looking at vocal variety and eye contact because that's what he asked. Back to you, Cyril.
I asked the same question to Gaurav and he said, one of the craziest thing I have done so far is resigning my job and then thinking what to do in life. Now I am pursuing my PhD at RIT. So after Gaurav sent me this note, I replied and I said, how that's powerful. And he replied to me and said, do you think that is not crazy? And then I realized that I had made a typing mistake. Instead of wow, that's powerful, I said how that's powerful. So Gaurav, I agree with you. This is a very crazy decision And now the stage is yours to deliver your speech.
Yeah. Thank you, Cyril. Uh, First of all, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being present for my first icebreaker speech. I am Gaurav Wagh, a third year PhD student at RIT. You might be thinking, oh my God, he is starting with a research presentation. But trust me, I'm not, although I love talking about my research. So, as I mentioned, I am doing my PhD at RIT. But one thing is, I'm so nervous when it comes to socializing people of diverse nature or like culture that I cannot quantify it. That's why this was the main reason for me to join Toastmasters. One more reason for joining Toastmasters was to become an excellent speaker. Today, I will be talking about three pieces of my life, which is parents, education, and passion for teaching. I am a single child born and raised in India. Just for your information, when a child is born in India, instead of deciding the name of the child, parents, along with the relatives, decide its profession. In my case, my father wanted me to become a doctor, whereas my mom wanted me to become a chartered accountant. But I decided to be an engineer. It's not because it's not because my parents gave up on me. It's because my marks were so good that I was not even eligible to get into that universities. So my parents were not having any other option but to just support me for my engineering. Then I started my journey as an undergrad. I still remember I got an assignment where I had to give a presentation on a given topic. I got a feedback from my professor. When I read the feedback, it said, "You will become a great lecturer. You have the skills." This ignited a spark in me. I immediately went to my parents and I said, "Parents, I want to become a teacher or a lecturer, but not an engineer." My parents, looking at the spark in my eyes, they said, "Are you crazy? It has just been a semester. There is 3.5 years to go." So then over here, of course, changing majors in India is a little bit difficult. And priority is given to your degree than your passion in India. Then I started pursuing my passion along with my master's in India. I went I also taught school children, which helped me to get a job in an educational institute where I taught undergrad students courses such as courses such as computer graphics and wireless sensor networks. I also organized workshops, field trips, and events. I also learned a lot from my colleagues as well as students. After 2 years, I thought that I should pursue a degree of PhD, as it is considered as the highest degree for a given profession. So here am I doing my PhD at RIT because of my three main pieces: parents, education, and passion. Looking back, I used to think my parents were wrong, but actually both wanted good for me. I would like to conclude my speech by an old Sanskrit saying, "Na rajam, na dhanam, na kanakam." It means no kingdom, nor money, neither beauty. Nothing stays permanent. Knowledge is not nothing stays permanent. In life, everything is temporary, but knowledge stays. Nobody can burn knowledge, nobody can steal knowledge, nobody can bury knowledge. I'm here to share my knowledge and as a lecturer because I feel the more knowledge you share, the more wealthier you become. And over here in Toastmasters, I feel everything knowingly or unknowingly does the same. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Gaurav, for this wonderful speech. Now let's take a minute of our time to send a love note to Gaurav. It's a timer. Okay, thank you very much. Now let's move on to our third and last speech of the day that will be delivered by Alex. And to evaluate Alex, we have Hassan. I asked the same question to Hassan, and I have the feeling that there's a lot of crazy people here in ToastMasters. So Hassan told me that something crazy I did was to take part to a speech contest. I did it to go out of my comfort zone, and this experience has helped me grow. Thank you very much, Hassan. And I would like to give you the floor to tell us what you will be looking into while evaluating Alex.
Thank you very much, Cyril. Alex is delivering a speech today in his pathway, which is visionary communication. It's a level 3 project. Actually, it's an elective project, which is inspire your audience. Look forward to listening to the speech.
Thank you, Hassan. And so Alex also made in my opinion, a very crazy decision, but I will let you guys judge on that. So when I asked the same question to Alex, he said, I left my engineering and started a new career in nonprofit. Took a big pay cut, but it's much more meaningful career. I grow and I learn every day. Thank you very much for this wonderful testimony, Alex. Now the stage is yours to deliver your speech. Alex.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our most welcome guest. Have you ever seen a chicken fly? Chickens fly by flapping as hard as they can. And they resist gravity that inevitably pulls them back down to the ground. Have you ever looked up and seen an eagle fly? They adjust their wings ever so slightly to ride on winds that are bigger than them. My word for the year this year is soar. And I want to spend just a minute to explain word for the year if anyone hasn't heard about it, or if you want to select a new word for your new school year. Because each opportunity that we have to set the course of our lives, it's always a great time to set new habits. And this is a great one to start if you haven't started it for your new school year. A word for the year is an answer to everything that's wrong with New Year's resolutions. Everyone comes into a new school year thinking, I'm gonna work out at the gym after class every day, or I'm gonna lose this weight, or I'm gonna study harder, I'm gonna. All those New Year's resolutions, those new school year habits, they all have the same thing in common. And that thing is that every time you think of it, you lose. You lose. You're all frozen there. But I'm assuming that some of you at least remember the game, that when you think of it, you lose. That's New Year's resolutions. And the word for the year is just the opposite. Every time you think of it, every time you look down at that compass that is pointing towards your true north, every time you look at that, you think of it and you win. and you get redirected to your true north, whatever your word for the year is. And that's what I encourage you to do as you think about new habits for this new school year. Take that word of the year and make it your compass. And my compass for this year is soar. And it has everything to do with that opening illustration. A chicken flapping as hard as it can to resist gravity, and an eagle adjusting its wings ever so slightly to ride on winds that are bigger than itself. And the reason why that's my compass, and I hope that it can become yours, is that there is a value system that teaches people who could fly like eagles to fly like chickens. And that value system has three main tenets. Work really hard. Get good results. Be happy. Work hard, get results, be happy. And it seems simple enough, and it even works to a certain extent. If you work really hard, you're gonna get good results. And that be happy, it's out there. The promise of it, that you'll finish your career and you can retire. You'll get good grades so you can get the good job, so that you can get the good income, so that you can get the good house, so that you can get the good wife, so that you can get and it's always out there. And I was raised in this system. And boy, did I have it down straight. But let me tell you what happens. Because how do you know that you're working really hard before you get the results? Well, for me, the only way that I ever knew that I was working hard was that I was hurting. They tell you no pain, no gain. And that's what I used as my measure. So before I got the grade back on the test, I needed to make sure that I was exhausted from studying before I got done. Before I got the time back from the race, I had to know that my muscles were sore. And all that pain in most areas of life is letting you know something has gone wrong. Imagine a racer that every time he runs a race, he pulls a muscle and he has to stop in the middle because he's hurting so badly. He's never going to win. And that was my signal for how hard I needed to work. No pain, no gain is just not true. That if you're feeling pain, or if you're feeling negative, if you're like Ming Chuo's roommate and all you can do is complain, something has gone wrong. And you will never win the race, because that pain is a signal that something inside you is injured. The next thing, get results. Just like I was saying, the results are always past the next thing. Sure, you passed the test, but now you have to pass the class. Sure, you passed the class, but now you have to graduate. Sure, you've graduated, but now you've got to find a job. Sure, you found the job, but now you have to get the promotion. Oh, you've got the promotion, but now there's that long 30 years until you can retire and finally get that thing that you want. The goalposts always move. And that third thing, be happy, always ends up being out there. And so there you are, just flapping as hard as you can, resisting that pull of gravity back to where you started. But how can you fly like an eagle? You find your passion, you follow peace, and you find meaning. Unlike happiness, meaning always brings joy, and it's always right there with you. Unlike those results, peace can always be right with you. It's not over the next hill, past the next goalpost. And unlike that, working hard, you know that you're full of joy. Eagles soar on wings that are bigger than themselves. And you can soar too, by picking your word for the year, finding your passion, following peace, and finding that meaning. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Alex, for that wonderful speech. Those are very great and valuable lessons, and we will do our best to implement that into our lives moving forward. Now let's take a minute of our time to send a love note to Alex. Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Timer. So now we are at the end of the prepared speeches. The second part of this meeting is the table topics. And to help us with the table topics, we have Kelly. And I ask the same question again to Kelly. What is one thing, one crazy thing that you did and that changed your life forever? And she said, I tried out for a TV show called So You Think You Can Dance when I turned 30. I waited in line for about 5 to 6 hours on a cold February day in Washington, D.C. I met some really neat, talented people in the process. I was given invaluable feedback, and it helped me instill in me the fact that I can be bold and courageous even in front of strangers. And I would like to now give the floor to Kelly to help us go through the table topics. Kelly.
Thank you, Cyril. We have now entered the section of our meeting called Table Topics, as Cyril mentioned. And I'd like to talk about the theme of the day today, crazy. And as he mentioned in the beginning of the meeting, it's been a crazy, unusual year in the times that we've been enduring, for sure. A lot of these topics are going to revolve around the word crazy. And before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone that anyone can participate in this part of the meeting, including guests. And I will ask for volunteers. I have 5 table topics tonight if we have time. But before we begin, I'm going to ask a couple of our functionaries to review the rules for this portion of the meeting. So we'll start with our timer, Ajita.
Thank you, Kelly. The timing rules for table topics are 1 to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will show this green background. At 1.5 minutes, I will show the yellow background. And at 2 minutes, I'll show the red background, where you will have 30 seconds to wrap up your speech. And in order to qualify for the prize at the end, you'll have to reach the 1 minute mark. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Ajita. And again, your backgrounds are wonderful. So be making sure you keep an eye on your screen so you know when the time is up. Our next functionary I'd like to introduce again will be our grammarian, who is going to be Preetham. Yes, it has been Preetham and will continue to be. So Preetham, if you can share with us what we'd like to be looking for with your role tonight.
for the table topics, I would look out especially for usage of the word of the day, which is fracture. The word fracture means a partial or a complete split or break. To give an example, a better one than I used before, is Hillary Clinton said, what we need to do is celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our communities. I repeat that Hillary Clinton once said that what we need to do is celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our community. With that, I'll hand it back to our topics master, Kelly.
Thank you, Preetham. So we will have I have 5 questions or statements to answer tonight. And to shake it up a little, I'm going to use the letters of the word crazy. So you can pick C, R, A, Z, or Y. Who would like to be first tonight? All we need is a volunteer. Xavier. What letter would you like to choose?
I will take Y.
Y. As an RIT student, why would you think it would be crazy for someone not to join ToastMasters? Again, as an RIT student, why would you think it would be crazy for someone not to join ToastMasters?
Why would I think it's crazy not to join ToastMasters? I have a pretty good answer to this. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and of course, guest. I got the opportunity to join ToastMasters my freshman year of college about 6 years back now. So gotten to see ToastMasters grow and evolve, especially through Tigertales over the years now. And I tell you what, anybody who has joined and really stuck with giving speeches, taking feedback, and improving, I've seen grow into amazing people. Because of this, I've gotten the opportunity to see someone like Preetham go from a bumbling master's student, looking all fractured in his speech, to someone who's talking at TEDx places and is now my boss. Inspiring people to drink their own urine. Because of ToastMasters, I've gotten the chance myself to connect and actually travel the country, working at cool places like GM and Tesla. Because of ToastMasters, I got inspired by a guy named Sabor from Afghanistan, who came here, really shared his story, and made me feel connected with him from just meeting him for the first time in a 4 to 6 minute speech. And because of ToastMasters, I've gotten the chance to mentor 9 people from all around the world who I still stay connected with today. That's why you would be crazy not to join ToastMasters.
Thank you, Xavier. I'm in wholehearted agreement. And again, anyone is able to volunteer. And I forgot to say at the end, we're going to vote for our favorite table topic tonight. And you can receive a virtual clap, I suppose, because we can't send chocolate through the computer yet, but maybe someday. Who wants to go next and pick another letter? Deb, I see your hand. So we've got C, R, A, or Z.
I'll do R.
R, okay. Recall a crazy person you've encountered, and what was your reaction? Recall a crazy person you've encountered, and what was your reaction?
So I was on a double date with someone you guys probably already know, Alex, and two friends of ours named Mandy and Eric. And we decided to go to Spot Coffee for after dinner, after movie, just kind of have a cup of coffee, maybe play a game, talk. This was also when I was in college, so much younger. And I was waiting in line, and Alex and Eric decided to leave Mandy and I in the line to get the coffee so they could go get a table up on a different level. This is when Spot was much bigger and rather different than it is now. And this guy comes up to me, and he is blonde, and his eyes are like pin tiny, creepy black. Like, I don't know what's going on. Obviously, something was fractured in his emotional well-being for him to act this way. And so he comes up to me, you know, just very quiet, a little sweaty, and is like, "There's something about you." That's like what he kept saying over and over again. "There's something about you." And of course, he kept staring at me. And, you know, Mandy, she's like this beautiful, tall blonde. And at the time, I was just kind of, "Hey, what's up? Can I help you with something?" Super awkward. And so I'm pretty sure he was on something. I don't know if I would say that he was crazy, but something was off in how he was behaving. But he continued to try to talk to us, and eventually I think he gave up. And I will just always now remember, there's something about you, that creepy voice at Spot Coffee. Madam Table Topics Master.
Hope we don't have bad dreams with that saying tonight.
Sorry.
It's okay. Thanks for sharing your experience. Glad you got through it okay. Got 3 more. How are we doing on time, Ajita? Okay. Time for 1 more? Okay, time for 1 more. So 1 more person want to volunteer? Come on, come on. Preetham? Okay. So I have 3 letters left, C, A, or Z.
Go with C.
C. C. Can you describe a crazy day you've had in your life? C. Can you describe a crazy day you've had in your life?
I have to describe just one crazy day. That is a tough job. I will start with a crazy day that happened when I had a flight at 6 a.m. in the morning. I was taking a flight from Rochester all the way to India. Around 2 a.m., I thought that why should I go to sleep? I would just stay awake, watch something online, and catch my flight at 6 a.m. I started YouTube watching some random things. I don't know when it happened, but my eyes gave up on me. And when my eyes opened, I saw it was 6:30 a.m. I cursed so loudly at that point. All my roommates woke up. And they came, what happened? And I couldn't describe that how stupid I was to sleep through a flight that was at 6 a.m. The whole day after that was so crazy that I could have almost fractured all the bones in my body. I made a call to the airlines, booked another ticket, got a flight at 8 a.m. I had a connecting flight from New York, JFK, to India. Just when the emergency doors were closing for that big flight, the Boeing A380 flight, I ran into the gate and I shouted, "Wait for me!" And they actually opened the gate again for me and let me in. That was a whole crazy day where I had to woke up, missing my flight, and the rest of the day was spent running through the airports and security checks for 6 hours. That is the experience of a crazy day, and I hand it back to our topics master, Kelly.
Thank you, Preetham. Yeah, that sounds crazy. Doesn't make me want to fly anywhere anytime soon. Well, other reasons too, I'm sure. Ajita, that was enough time then for our table topic. So thank you everyone who was able to volunteer tonight. We hope that others can volunteer in the future as well. And I'm gonna ask the timer first. Ajita, did everybody that participated tonight meet the time qualification?
Yes, yes.
Congratulations, wonderful. And Preetham, how about word of the day? Did everyone use it? Wonderful. So we have 3 that qualified, 3 we can vote for. Chitra has put up a lovely poll for us to answer, and we have Xavier, Deb, and Preetham to choose from. So if you would just indicate which one you thought was best and submit it to her, we'll hear the results at the end that our Toastmaster will give us. And with that, I will hand it back over to our Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Kelly. We are at the end of the table topics, and now that the 2 main part of the meetings are over, we are going to move on to the evaluations. And to lead us through the evaluations, we have Deb, and I asked the same question to Deb, and she said, when I was in high school, I went on a 10 wilderness adventure. I am a city girl and I had no camping experience. It taught me how to be tough and bring some emotional maturity in my life. I think that was a wonderful experience, and I'm going to give the floor to Deb to lead us through the evaluations.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I also learned that I really don't like deer flies. They're Satan. That's what they are. They're horrible. Anyways, so one of the amazing things about Toastmasters is getting advice, getting immediate advice, feedback on your speech, which is important for anyone's growth as you continue to grow your confidence. You know, I love that our team here is just it's a very relaxing, trusting atmosphere that when feedback is given, it's always given in good spirit. So that's something I love about this club, and it's always genuine and helpful. So to get us started, if our timer could tell us the timing rules for our evaluators.
For the evaluations today, evaluators will have 2 to 3 minutes, where at 2 minutes I will show the green card, at 2.5 minutes I will show the yellow card, and at 3 minutes I'll show the red card, where you will have 30 seconds to wrap up your evaluations. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Ajita. So to get us started, Desant is our first evaluator, and I asked each of the evaluators what drives them crazy. Like, what are things that frustrate them, make them upset? And for Desant, he really doesn't like lack of discipline and bigotry, which is right on. Who wants that in their life? So Desant, if you want to go ahead with your evaluation, we'd love to hear your feedback.
Thank you very much, Deb. Hello, everybody. Hello, Alex. Inspire your audience is all about appealing to the noble motives of people and then challenge people to do their best to achieve their goals. To inspire your audience, you need 3 steps. The first one is to connect with the audience. And Alex did that by appealing to our need of achievement of self-actualization. he talked about how we can achieve our goal, how we can become a better person. And the second one is changing the status quo, which is why should we change? And I really like the comparison he made between the chicken and the eagle. We have the chicken and we have the eagle, and they don't fly the same. Everybody would like to be this eagle, not the chicken. And then the third step is inspire people, and which is about how to do that. And he told us how to do that by like working hard. I like when he said like no pain, no gain. Also be happy, find a meaning in our life, and also have a passion. And mostly like great speeches, they all often have what we call ethos, logos, and pathos. The ethos is about the confidence of the speaker. So he really, the credibility, I mean, he showed that by having really great confidence. He was calm, and he was also able to use his gestures to speak and to explain what he was saying. And then the logos, which is about the logic, he did that by showing us how we can go from a chicken to an eagle. And then the pathos, which was about our emotion, our feeling. And I like when he talked about passion, finding a meaning in life and being happy. And to inspire your audience, you also need words, vivid words of action. And I can hear from he had words like to soar, and also find a pay, work hard, and etc. etc. So what he can improve from his speech, besides the technical issue, because I really missed some part of the speech because of it was frozen. To inspire audience, you often need to have more quotes, anecdotes, stories that people can relate to. It can be a personal story or story of someone else who went from a chicken to become an eagle. When someone tells me, for instance, Hassan, you can walk on water, I would ask him, when did you do that? Did you, are you going to walk on water? I will see how you do that. So this was something that I didn't hear in his story, in his speech. Beside that, it was really a great speech. Congratulations, Alex.
Thank you for that wonderful evaluation. Apologies, I misread your answer because my eyes are like going at this point. Destan's thing that gets him going is forgetting about important stuff to do. So apologies, but I just gave away Hassan's thing that drives him crazy. So Hassan, if you want to go ahead with your evaluation, we are ready.
Destin. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and my dear Ming Shu. When I heard about the title of your speech, Theory of Relativity, I thought that you were about to talk about the science thing. And then at the beginning of your speech, you said, don't worry, it's not a science lecture, something like that. And I was more curious to know what you would talk about. You got my attention at that very moment. And that is something you did very well. And you also used two examples, two situations. The first one was about your friend who was complaining, always complaining. And the second one was about your teacher. These two illustrations showed us from the very start what you was about to talk about, what you was going to talk about. How people can see things from different perspectives. And that is what relativity is. And I really like the fact that you change your voice when you were using dialogues between you and your mother, and you presented us your mother as someone who's calm, and you succeeded to do that. Also, something you did well. I rewatched your last speech, and compared to this one, you felt very more comfortable. You stood up to present your speech in opposite to what you did before, and that was something very amazing. What else did I notice? Your body language. You used your space, you used your body, your hands to show us what you meant. You expressed, you you expressed yourself with your body, and that is something very amazing that you did tonight. Yes, you asked me to watch your rhythm. I think you have to work on your rhythm. Sometimes I felt like you was going too fast. I couldn't really catch what you were saying, but you knew how to pause your speech when it came to dialogues. But sometimes I noticed that you were like, it was already yellow when you finished your speech, so you had to say a lot of stuff in a short time. I understand why you kind of rushed in, but overall, your speech was amazing, and I can't wait to hear your next speech. Madam General Evaluator, thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we have Xavier. And what drove Xavier crazy is getting late to the game with loving music. That it took now for him to love and enjoy music to its fullest potential. So, Xavier?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, but most importantly, because you're the man of the minute, Gaurav. Gaurav, I messaged this to you, but if this is going to be your baseline for your first speech, you are on a great path to being an inspirational speaker very soon. Our very next freedom in action here. And I want to highlight all of the baseline things that you already have, and then I'll give you one slight improvement, but I understand that a lot of things are going to come as you give more speeches, which is going to be the biggest feedback to keep speaking, because if this is your baseline, we need to keep hearing you. First off, you asked me to talk about your vocal variety and your speaking level. I loved that you kind of come in with a lecture, almost eloquent style. You have this kind of natural diction, your calm demeanor, but you're not afraid to kind of work yourself outside the box a little bit, especially through dialogue. The one part that I remember is you said, "Parents, I'm gonna be this." First of all, I would never say parents to my parents, but just knowing that little tidbit about you, that was amazing. And then the way that you said, "Are you crazy? Are you crazy?" Like, I'm trying to think, are you crazy? I can't even do it because you did it so much probably like your parents that it was very funny, but also got your point across as well. You had a strong structure with 3 points: education, passion, and parents. Something that I still remember because you used 3. And 3 is really easy to remember because that's how we do everything. Phone numbers, essays, like if you think about it, 3 is that magic number. Strong eye contact. I think you immediately noticed how different eye contact is in the virtual setting, that if you really want to connect with somebody, you have to be looking right at the camera. And it would have been cool maybe to see you kind of like lean in to like really get your point across. Alex does that amazingly in this format. So we're kind of learning new things because we're not used to speaking online in this setting. But I'm also really excited to hear you speak face to face at some point as well. My one strong feedback for you is do not say thank you. We should be thanking you. You opened up with it, and instead you could open up with some way to draw us in. We don't need to be thanked. It's okay because you're the one actually giving us the gift. We're just around to hear it. But even though that was your opening, your ending was very strong because you brought this quote that seemed like some sort of mantra that you would follow. So number one, you brought it in your native tongue. Additionally, you brought something that you think about a lot to the table and something that we can take away, but further expanded your point. Madam General Evaluator, back to you.
Thank you, Xavier. And next up, we are going to have our functionary reports. So to get us started, Ajita or Timer, would you like to give your report?
Sure. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Overall, everyone was on time. I would just like to point out two of our speeches where our icebreaker speech given by Gaurav was little below the time, where he gave the speech in 4 minutes 25 seconds. I can understand that when you're giving your first speech, you end up rushing a bit, but then there is a lot to learn from that. And then I would like to compare it with our seasoned Toastmaster Alex, who always manages to finish it at 7:30. And I don't know how he does it, because the moment I see the red card, I would just start wrapping it up as soon as possible. But I was waiting to press the stop button, and it was exactly 7:30. So I just thought I'll share these two. And apart from that, everyone else was within the time limits. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Good job, Soaring. So next, we will have our awe counter, Chitra, to give your report.
Hello, everybody. Today, my job was fairly easy, where the prepared speakers had fewer encounters of repeat words, and the table topics and the evaluation had even fewer occurrences of repeat words. Great job, guys. If you would like to have a detailed report, please contact me after the meeting. I'll give you a detailed report of that. And that great job. Keep up the spirit. Back to you, Madam Evaluator.
Thank you, Chitra. And next, our grammarian, Pritam, to give your report.
For the speakers, first one was Mingshu. Mingshu had a couple of very good use of words, quotes. One of them was virtue has its own rewards. He also used some humor with his use of words. Particularly one was, although they are introverted, they can be infected by my smiling face. Cyril, you did a great job using the word of the day. You used it more than 5 times. Gaurav, you used repeated words very well. That there was one point that you said, my marks were so good, my marks were so good. So you repeated those 2 times to enhance the effect. One thing that I would suggest for you, that there once you said that my marks was so good that those universities would not accept me. So if you could make it more specific, my marks were so good that the medical universities would not accept me. It would be very helpful to the audience. For Alex, the best word I liked was they adjust their wings ever so slightly. So that was a very good visual. And for table topics, everyone used the word of the day. I'll hand it back to our general evaluator, Deb.
Thank you, Pritam. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a general overview of how I thought the meeting went. Some takeaways. General evaluator, don't be late. Get off your work call sooner rather than later. Apologies, everyone. So I'm not sure if it started on time, but it seems like it was in good pace when I jumped on. So excellent work. Thank you so much for keeping on task, even though I wasn't quite on yet. Totally fine. I think overall, it's just been really great to see how we've all been adapting, and just honestly, this whole remote thing feeling more natural. Like it feels more at ease from, I love that we have the clapper. And I don't know, I'm assuming it's a recording because it sounds exactly the same every time, unless someone has an amazing ability to stay in tempo like that every time and when they clap. that just kind of adds a little bit more of the element. So I really appreciate that that little piece was added to there, because I know it's been really hard, I think, for all of us to just be working in this environment and feel so separate from each other. I also thought it was an excellent, really creative job with Kelly, our table topics master. The acronym, that was a new one. That was a new creative stretch we did. We've done numbers, we've done, random chicken scenarios, we've done all of these wild different ways of incorporating, the awesome fun that we know the table topics can be. So I think that's something we do an amazing job here, is we make it fun, we make it easy to participate in, and we make it really creative. So kudos to you, Kelly, for that hard work. But I will go ahead and turn it back over to our Toastmaster to do the rest of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Kelly, Deb. And we are almost at the end of this wonderful meeting. And I wanted to announce the winner for the table topics. And as per our usual thing, we will give a round of applause and a drums. While I am announcing the winner, can you please unmute yourself and give a roll drum? And the winner is Xavier. Oh, okay, that's a nice drum. All right, Xavier, congratulations. As Kelly mentioned, you will be receiving virtual chocolate, right?
All right.
Please enjoy that. And before I conclude, I would like to also address our thanks to Grant, our club master of the day. And this was my first time to hear the drums. Actually, that was really nice. So this was a wonderful meeting, and we fractures from a lot of things, from the speech delivered by Ming Shu to Alex's masterclass. We've learned a lot. Personally, I did. And it always makes me remember that Toastmaster is not only a school for public speaking, but most importantly, it's a school for life. And I'm really grateful to be a member of the RIT Toastmaster Club. And I would now like to give the floor to our president to close the meeting.
Thank you very much, Cyril. Always good to have you at our meetings. Thank you all. There's something I learned today. I learned that I'm surrounded by crazy people who can do crazy things to become really a better person. And I would like to congratulate Gaurav for his first speech. Unfortunately, you didn't have the standing ovation because we were online. Also, I'd like to congratulate Ming Shu for his second speech, which was also a great one. Just an announcement, we probably read my email last week. I was telling about the change we would like to do to our time of meeting and maybe even the date. So I would like you to staff the meeting for 5 minutes to talk about it. And now I would like to have feedback from our guest, Adrian. I met him some days ago on during a boat tour on a area canal.
Yeah, the boat tour.
Yeah, and he asked me, what club are you involved in at RIT? And I said Toastmasters. So he came today. I'd like to hear from you, Adrian. What do you think about the meeting and the club in general?
Well, honestly, I had no idea what it was going to be because it's called Toastmasters. So I thought it'd be like mastering toast or something. I know you mentioned public speaking, but I didn't know for sure what it would be. I thought it was cool how you guys all like try and build each other up through speaking publicly, and it seems really supportive. which is cool, and they get immediate feedback too after their speeches. So seems like a really good program. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So why do we have both the clapping noises and this? Like, could we just do this, or could we just do the clapping noises? I mean, I don't know. It's cool, but just wonder.
Okay, we normally have in-person meetings, and every time someone delivers a speech, we clap. So after we went online, it wasn't possible to do it. So we had this habit to do that. And I don't know, maybe 4 or 3 weeks ago, Ethan came with this new sound of clapping. So we have it, but still people are used to have this gesture for clapping. That's why.
Yeah, thank you for having me on here.
Thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
So this is the end of our meeting. I would like to adjourn the meeting and hope to see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.